Hi all. Today in this session, we will check how we can implement SCD Type 1 logic using Azure Data Factory. So let's take a sample example. Then if this type of source data comes and how the target table will be loaded. So SCD Type 1 is basically the slowly changing dimension type 1, where we don't maintain any history. We only keep the latest data that we have received from the source. So the dimension table contains the latest data and latest and the greatest data. So, for example, let's consider this particular example. This is the day one data, and this is my source, and this is my target. So, suppose in my day one data, I received three employee IDs, employee ID 1, 2, and 3 with name is Samir Acharya, Ramesh Ranjan Mahanti, and Siva Sahu. And these all are the start date. That is 1st of January, 1st of February, 1st of March 2023. So as this data comes, the same data will get loaded into the target without any, so it will be a plain insert because this data is not there in the target. Now on the second day, suppose I have received same employee ID 1 and 2 with exactly the same copy that we have received in day 1. During the day 2, we received the entire same copy of the data. But for employee ID 3, we received a update that is middle name. Instead of Siva Sahu, we received Siva Kumar Sahu. And on day 2, we received a new record that is for employee ID 4, Smita Mahapatra. So this is the data that we have received. So in day 2, what will happen is these two are copy. It should not, it's though these two should be unaltered. There should not be any change in the data. And this record was there already available, and we received an update on top of it, so it will be an update. And as this record was not there earlier, it will be an insert. So at the end of day 2, I will be having all the 4 records with these two as the data that has not been changed. So there will be no operation on this two record. This will be this record will be updated during the day 2 run, and this record will be fresh insert. So let's see how we will implement this type of logic. So for that, I already have the table available. Let me check. So I have the table available here, which contains 3 data. One is employee ID 1, 2, 3 with Siva Sahu. If you compare this Excel, Siva Sahu, Ramesh Ranjan Mahapatra, Samir Acharya. So Siva Sahu, Ramesh Ranjan Mahanti, and Samir Acharya. So these are the 3 records that we have in the source. And let's see how the data in the target is. So basically in the target, we don't have any record. So let's see how we can implement it using Azure Data Factory. So to get started with Azure Data Factory, first of all, we need to create the link service. So I already, my data is available in SQL database. So I already have created a linked service for it. And here I will be using two sources. One is my source data or source table, that is source TBL, and other is the target TBL. So let's see how the data is there in the source TBL. If you click on preview data, this is the data that I have in source TBL. And in the target TBL, I will not be able to see any data because it is completely blank. Okay, so now let's start on creating a data flow. So for that, I'll be clicking on new data flow. Let's provide a name as SCD1. So here I need to have the source first. So for that, what should be the logic implemented? I need to have source table and I need to have the target table. So when I'm reading the source table, I need to reference the target table and see what all are the records available in the target. Are they matching with the source or not? If they are not matching, if that key column is not there, then simply insert it. If the key column is there, then check whether it is a copy or is it a update. So we need to implement all these things. So for that, I would be requiring the source table, and I would also be requiring the target table, which will be used as a reference. So basically in my job, I would be requiring two source. One is a source table and one is a target reference table for reference. So what I'll be doing here is I will be clicking on add source. Let me give it as source, and let me provide the data set as source. Projection, we can see the column name available here. Let's review the data. So now we can see we have three records, 1, 2, 3, employee ID 1, 2, 3 for Samir Achari, Ramesh Ranjan Mohanty, and Siva Sahu with its corresponding start date. So now we would be requiring the target table as a reference. So for that, what I can do, I can click on this add source once again. Provide a name, target reference, provide the target data set. Let's go to projection once again. So this is how the data comes, and let's see the data. We will not have any data here. Okay. So for now, what I will be doing is I will be creating a hash column. So what is the hash column? It is basically the it what the hash column will be doing. It will create hash key on top of these columns. So based on the value that we have, combination of the value that we have in each column, it will generate a unique key. So let's see how we can generate a hash column. So we can click on this source, click on derived column, source, hash source, and provide the column name as hash, and click on this enter expression, open expression builder, search for MD5, and then provide all the columns that we are having from the source. So we have employee ID, employee first name, middle name, last name, and the start. Now similarly for target also, we will be generating the hash value. So again, we will search for derived column, hash reference, and we will be creating a column called hash again here. And then again, we will go to expression builder. We will again search for MD5, and whatever the columns are there from the target, we will select them. It is employee ID, first name, middle name, last name, and the start date. So now we have generated the hash value. So now our first activity is we will identify how many are the new inserts. So like in the day one, all these three records are the new insert. How can I identify how many records are the new insert? I need to check in the target. Here the key column is employee ID. If this key column is not there in my target, then that means that is a new insert for me. So during the day one, I don't have any data in the target as it is coming from the source 123, employee ID 123 is a key column, and I will not be having this 123 in the target. So as this employee ID 123 is not there in the target, it will get inserted. It will be treating it as an insert. So let's see how we can implement the insert functionality first. Click on plus here, and I will be checking for using this exist. Check for insert. Here the right stream will be hash reference I will be using because I will be using the target hash reference. And here I will be checking for doesn't exist. And here the key column is what is the logic I need to implement? I need to check the key column is employee ID. If this employee ID is not there in the target, whatever is there in the source is not there in the target, that means it will be insert. So let me implement that. Check for insert. Here the key column will be employee ID from hash source, and for hash reference also it will be employee ID. Let me preview the data. At this point of time, I don't have any data in the target. So there were 3 records in the source. So there were 3 records in the source. All these 3 records should come in the data preview as a part of insert. That is what you can see. And you can see the hash column is generated here, which is which provides the MD5, which creates a hash value using the MD5 function on top of employee ID, first name, middle name, last name, and the start date. So here we have identified how many records are the new insert. So what we will do, let me insert the data into the target table. So for that, I will be using a sync, and I'll be providing the name as target insert. And here the data set will be the target data set. And in setting, I should be selecting allow insert because I'm simply doing the insert. And in the mapping, let me unselect this auto mapping and let me check if it is mapped properly or not. So it is mapped properly. Let's see the data preview once again here. So here I should be able to see the 3 records that are there in the source should be flowing to the target. So now my insert logic is completed. The second logic that I need to implement is I need to check how many are the update and how many are the copy data. These 2 records are the copy data. So we should not be touching these 2 records. We should not be modifying the value to these 2 records. So let me identify how many are the update and how many are the copy record. So for that, what we will do, we will create a new branch on top of the source, on this hash source. Let me create a new branch. And here, let me add one more exist. So here, check for common key. So I will be, first of all, what I need to do is I need to check if the employee ID is there in the target, if it is there in the source, as well as it is there in the target or not. So if I will be able to identify how many employee IDs are there in both source and the target, then that means I can identify that either they are copy records or it is a update record. So for example, if you see this record, these 3 record, we already have this 1, 2, 3 in the target, right, during the day 1. So now we have received an update on top of this employee ID 3. So this will be considered as update, and there is no change in employee ID 1 and 2. So this will be considered as a copy. So my first logic will be I need to check if there is any employee ID that is there in the source and that is also there in the target table during the previous run or not. So I need to check for this 1, 2, 3 record. So how will I check this employee ID? I need to check in both source and the target. So for that, what I'm doing here is check for common key. Check for common keys. So here I will be using this hash source and I will be referencing it with hash reference. And I need to check for the common thing. So it is exist. And here I will be selecting on employee ID. Yeah. So with this logic, I will be able to pull this 1, 2, 3 record from here and here, which means these records are either update or copy record. So now I have identified this 1, 2, 3 record. Now I need to segregate it, stating that this 1, 2 record is copy and this 3 record is an insert. Sorry, this 3 record, that is employee ID 3 record is a update, and 1, 2 is copy. How can I segregate that? So what I will be doing is, I have already generated the hash value, right? What I will do, I will, first of all, I already picked this 3 record. What I will be doing next is, I will be checking the hash value. The hash value that is there in the target and the hash value that is generated from the source are the same or not. For example, if you see this 2 record, 1 and 2, the record is exactly same what is there in the target. Okay, so that means if the entire record is same, then the hash value will also be same. So whatever the hash value is there for the target, the same hash value will be there in the source also. So I need to check for these 3 records, how many records have a different hash value. So for that, what I need to do is, I already picked this 1, 2, 3 record. Now I need to pick this third record with the hash value, which is not matching with the existing one. So for that, I need to do what I need to do. I need to again click on this plus and again click on exist. And here I will be providing check for update record. Okay, and here check for common key. Here the right reference will be the hash reference. I need to use, I need to check, I need to compare it with the hash value that is available in the target with the source. So this data is from source that I have pulled. I need to compare it with the target. So for target, what I will do, I will use target. I will be using hash reference. So I use the hash reference that I already created. And I will be checking for the update, right? So update means I need to check the hash value is not same. So for that, I will be selecting for doesn't exist. And here the key column will be hash. Okay. So now I identified in this step, I identified this third record. It is 3 Siva Kumar Sahu, which is the update. And I already discarded these 2 record because that falls under the copy record. So here if I select on exists, then I will be able to pull only these 2 record, that is a copy record. But as I selected doesn't exist, I pulled for this update record. Now let's do one more thing. I need to update this record to my target. So to update this record into the target, what I need to do is I need to update it to a sync. So to update that into a sync, first of all, I need to use alter row component. And here I need to provide what type of update I want to do. So in this alter row, what I need to do here is, if you see this one, I need to update this employee ID 3 with Siva Kumar Sahu and start date with this. So if I receive any update on the other columns apart from the key column, I need to update that. So for that, what I need to do here is, so I already pulled what all records are to be updated to my alter row. So what I need to do here is I need to just select this alter row condition as update if and provide a condition as true. So what does that mean? If I provide the condition as true, so what it means, whatever record is coming from this check for update record and flowing into alter row, all those record will be updated. So that means all the record that are there that are coming from the predecessor of this alter row will be considered as update, because in this particular section we already identified how many records are considered for the update. So all those records need to be updated. So that's why we will use alter row. update if, and true. So we have several other options also like delete, offset, and all those. But in this scenario, we will be using update if. Then after that, we need to update that into the sync. So for that, what I need to do, I need to select for sync. And here I need to provide it as target update and provide the data set as target. Provide the setting instead of allow insert, it will be update because it will be updated. And here I need to provide the key column. What is the key column? My key column is employee ID. So here I need to select the key column as employee ID. And here you need to select this particular button, which will tell data factory that I should not be modifying the key columns. I should not be writing to the key columns. The only update that I need to do is on the rest all columns, Siva Kumar Sahu and start date. On this first name, middle name, last name, and the start date. I should not be doing any modification on the key column, that is the employee ID that I have selected in this list of columns. So my job is now ready. Let me just validate it. Let me preview the data first. In this update section, I should not be getting any record because during the day one, I don't have any data for the update. And in the target insert, I have these three records. So let me validate it. So there is no error here. Let me create a pipeline. SCD1 pipeline. Let me call that particular data flow here. So for that, I need to go to move and transform, search for this data flow, drag it to the designer, and provide the setting. In setting, provide the appropriate data flow. My data flow is SCD1 that I just created. Okay. Now let me validate once again. So there is no error. So now I need to run it. So to run it, I will be publishing it first. Let me publish it. So during the publish, it is asking me, I recently created SCD1 and SCD1 pipeline. SCD1 is the data flow and the SCD1 pipeline is the pipeline. So these all are the two changes. So I will be publishing it. Here you can see there is a window pop-up saying that it is trying to publish it. So two resources are trying to be published. Now the publish is completed. Now let me trigger it. So to trigger it, I can click on this add trigger and it trigger now. Click on OK. Now you can see successfully running the SCD1 pipeline, view pipeline run. So for that, I can directly click on that pipeline run button, or I can go to this monitor and click on this refresh. SCD1 pipeline is the one that we selected. Let me click on that. So it will take around a few minutes to execute. Let's wait for some time. So now we can see the pipeline is successful. Let's go to this data flow details. If you see here, we have target insert and we have target update. And in the target insert, we have three records, three rows written. In my target update, as it is a day one data. So there is, if you see here, this is the day one data. So three records were inserted and there is no record for update. So that's why the right rows written for target update is 0. So if you can go to stages also, you can see at which stage how many records have flown. Let's go to the database now. Earlier, we did not have any record in this target table. Now let's check this particular target table once again. So you can see 1, 2, 3, all these three records are now available with Samir Acharya, Siva Sahu, and Ramesh Ranjan Mahanti with its corresponding start date is now available. So new records are now getting inserted. So now let's see if for the day one data, like we will do a modification on this data for Siva Sahu as Siva Kumar Sahu, and we will insert a new record, and let's see how the data is getting loaded into the target. So for that, what we will do is we will do a small modification to it. We will add the data Smita Mahapatra data into my source table, and I will be adding the employee for employee ID 3, that is for employee ID 3. I will be adding the middle name as Kumar. Instead of Siva Sahu, I will be adding the middle name which was blank earlier. I will be adding it as Kumar. So let me do that. So now let me see the data in the source. So here you can see Smita Mahapatra is now added with the employee ID 4. Employee ID 3 is now having the middle name as Kumar. Apart from Siva Sahu, we have Kumar as a middle name. Now let me run this once again. Let me trigger this particular pipeline with trigger now option. Yeah, let's wait for a few minutes till it gets processed. So now the pipeline is completed. The day one run that we have triggered is now completed. Let's see the data. So here you can see in the target insert, we have one rows written, and in the target update, we have one rows. So why we have update one row? Because here we have the Siva Kumar Sahu as update, and the insert is Smita Mahapatra. So that's why we have one update and one insert. So now let's check the data in the table. Here we can see clearly that there is one record as insert and one record as update. So let's query on the target table. So this was the source data that we have checked. Now this is my target table. So earlier the source data has Siva Sahu. Kumar was not there. This is the data from the source. Let me query on the target table. Select star from DBO target table. So in the target table, you can see we have four records inserted. Smita Mahapatra, which was not there earlier, is now inserted. And Siva Kumar Sahu is now updated. And rest all data is there as it is. There is no change in the data. That is Samir and Ramesh Ranjan Mohanty. Those are intact. Those are intact. There is no change in the data. So in this session, we checked how we can implement SCD Type 1 using Data Factory. I hope it is informative. If it is helpful, then please like and share the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.